Today I want to talk about what to do when you're facing a situation where you're either going to have to trust your gut or go against it. And spoiler alert, it's to trust it. A great man once said, "I'm not taking no advice for the rest of my life." Now at first glance, this might seem a little arrogant. A comment like that may come across that way. But I think in the most ironic way possible, it's actually the best advice that you can take. To stop taking advice. Welcome to Mindset Reader, where I show you insights and ideas that work for me and might work for you. And before we begin, join my email list. I post a lot more frequently on there. You can check it out in the first link in the description down below. Because I don't know if some of you guys noticed, but YouTube took down my other video, claiming it was copyright or something, as if I was saying that I was the one who made that song and everything. Granted, the song I used was literally released days before I decided to make that video. So I can kind of see where they're coming from. Although this is exactly why I have a mailing list. Because now I can upload the stuff I want to make even if YouTube decides to take it away, because I just uploaded it somewhere else. If you want to see the videos and content that I'll probably get copyrighted or YouTube takes off or I just can't post on YouTube, click that first link in the description down below. Anyways, understand this is a video about me giving advice on how to not take advice, which is paradoxical in nature. It just goes to show that what I say in my video is just the thought process that I follow to find what works for me. Because maybe sharing what goes on in my head might inspire you to find your own way on how to think and find so many different ways on how you go about doing things. To learn how to think independently on your own, which is the actual theme of the video. Because honestly, everyone is usually wrong, especially me. I'm sitting here telling you that taking advice is bad advice. Why would you ever listen to that? That itself is bad advice. Or is it? I don't know. You're gonna have to find out for yourself. You get where I'm going with this? Knowing how to extrapolate multiple viewpoints and different perspectives across different mediums, people, ideas, books, movies, videos, wherever you could pull inspiration from to make your own milkshake of advice that aligns with your gut is what I would rather have you follow. The problem is that we are all subject to influence. No one is exempt from this force. Although the strength that this influence will affect us is determined on how willing we are to admit to ourselves that there is a possibility that what you have believed to be true for so long might not actually be true. It was probably true relative to the situation that you were in when you first learned it. Although now as your situation has evolved, it might not be true anymore. Now this goes deep to the point where you're dealt on whether or not that you're capable of doing something or whether or not you actually have to do something. It's just an idea you've adopted through unsolicited advice or something you've heard on repeat your entire life. Like the idea that you have to be married by a certain age or even married at all. Or the idea you needed to buy a house by a certain time. Or you need to be making a set amount of money to be happy. Think about it. Do you honestly think that those things came to you as an original thought? Or did that idea form in your head as a result of something everybody else wants? Now those ideas of what you might want actually might be what you truly want. Just because it's what everybody else wants doesn't mean it's suddenly not genuine. You don't have to be a hipster. What I'm saying is whatever direction that your gut is pulling you towards, it would be a good idea to explore where you even got that idea in the first place. And whether that idea is going to truly serve in line with what's going to resonate with you the most. Then decide for yourself whether it fits your best interest. Because this is where the difference between recognizing that you want something and recognizing that you need something always gets mixed up. Most of the things that we want, we could probably go without and we probably won't die. The hard part is breaking away from all that, using all the information that you've extrapolated over a long period of time to make the conscious decision to separate yourself from that idea over time and to continuously not use all the information that you gather to support your pre-existing conclusion of what your life should look like, but to use that information to form a new path. Follow that gut feeling by exploring the validity of those doubts you face about straying away from that idea that you're starting to question. Like there's so many ideas that weren't even our own to begin with. Most of the time it's just a result of us forgetting that our brains just soak up so much information and takes whatever information it has and just runs it in a loop, because our brains are designed to make sense of the world based on what we know. So if over a long period of time you're taught that you're a piece of shit, you're gonna start believing you're a piece of shit and pull information randomly throughout your head and start justifying that conclusion inside your head until you actually believe that you are a piece of shit. Like, you know when you start thinking about a red car and then suddenly you see there's a bunch of red cars driving around, as if red cars didn't exist before you started thinking about them. Oh, there's so many red cars today. It's the same with the information we soaked up from our friends, our parents, our teachers. We welcome whatever that idea was inside our head with open arms. From where? I have no idea. All I know is that it wasn't your idea to think that way in the first place. I know you've had those moments where you've questioned your insecurities. Insecurity being the uncertainty of who you are. And I'm not talking about the insecurities where you think your nose is like a little bit too long. I'm talking about insecurities about challenging the status quo and realizing that some ideas just don't work for you. And maybe you do want that result, but you have a different way of getting to it. A different way that nobody has ever done. The norm is more of a baseline. It's not how you have to do anything. It's just the baseline. The norm is just an idea, not a standard to follow. An idea you don't have to follow, especially if you have a better idea. And when you're down bad in that state, it's so easy to forget to ask yourself that question of, is there a better way? I find myself asking that question as many possible situations I'm in, especially when I'm down atrocious. It helps me gather my bearings and then settle on a relentless search for a new idea, a new way of doing things. Not just like dipping my toes in the water. I mean, deciding that I'm gonna make this work and find a different way to do it. You do this by creating an idea that then becomes your norm. You create a new standard for yourself and then you turn that into a lifestyle. Another question that I asked that shaped my curiosity on how I go about things was, where did they even get the idea that I can't do what I want? And I'm not a supervillain. It's not like I want to scheme and plan evil shit all the time. All I want to do is just talk about the things that have helped me on my journey as I go about experiencing life. Like, that shouldn't be a ridiculous question to ask. Look at Jeff Bezos.
Hey, so it's editing Jamil here. I just want to put my 2 cents in. Jeff Bezos is literally the closest we got to a real life Lex Luthor, literally a supervillain, and he's doing what he wants. Just let that sink in. All right, peace.
We're living in a world where there are grown men and women who are living their best life by putting the ball in the net, while other people try to stop them from putting that ball in the net for 2 hours. We don't realize that they're not just some crazy human specimen or experiments that are made in the lab. They just operate on a different normal that they've set for themselves. Look at LeBron. He's unstoppable when he plays basketball, but he is still just a man. He bleeds like a man. He just operates on a different standard. The difference between you and LeBron is that you don't consider the same things that you guys do on a day-to-day basis to be normal. It's more ridiculous that there are billions of people, maybe more like millions, maybe more like millions of people doing stuff like that in their own respective field. Not just career-wise, but also relationship-wise, mentally-wise, spiritually wise. And for most things, you can just do as a hobby. You don't have to try and get paid for it, unless your hobby is getting paid to do your hobby. But you can just do it just because you enjoy it. That being said, why can't you set the standard to get paid for doing your hobby? We literally have the choice to do some more research and then decide on how we're gonna make it work. The hardest part about making this change is going against that unsolicited advice, that unconscious pull to the advice that was already given to us. The doubts and excuses you have when starting were never your idea to start with. And I know for a fact, if you've made it to this point of the video, you got that unconscious pull that has your gut feeling screaming back at the delts saying this ain't right. Now, I'm not gonna get all scientific on you in this video. All you need to know is that that's just your desires trying to override your instilled delts to overcome and keep moving forward. Gather your resources and tools and see what rabbit hole you can go down to find a way to forge a new normal. Because of our subconscious brain that soaks up everything, we don't really have a choice to really take in advice, but we do have a choice to decide which advice we're going to use. So take advice. Just find a way to learn how to trust yourself enough to decide which advice it's going to be and how to combine all the pieces of information that are floating around your brain all together. Because realize no one's actually smart enough to start a paradigm shift. When you hear about ideas or see new invention or music videos or even videos or movies or whatever, or books, I know sometimes you think to yourself that you probably could have made that up or that you could have thought about it. And it's probably because you did at some point in your life before it was there. The difference between you and that person that did create it is the overwhelming evidence that they gathered, that they uncovered while following their curiosity, and to trust themselves to go against the unsolicited advice that was given to them. I say this in like every 3 videos. We have to understand that every single human experiences the same emotions. Obviously, there are exceptions, like the intensity that you do experience in them probably won't be as the same as the intensity as someone else might. But I'm not gonna get super specific on that. All you need to know is that humans experience emotion. Don't tell me that we don't, because we're all wired that way in case we run into a cobra or go to Australia. No person on earth is exempt from those feelings. The people that know how to proceed despite what they're feeling work in harmony with their feelings by making it as simple as just making the plan on how to act when certain feelings arise. And depending on the situation, act according to plan with the freedom to adapt. Those are the ones that can push through doubt and fear. The tricky thing about learning how to trust your gut more is that your curiosity is coated in all this doubt and fear, especially when you're first starting out. You gotta rid that coat. of nasty stuff. That stuff that's blocking from tapping into your authentic gut feeling. You could do this by getting a taste of invincibility, by watching your favorite movies and listening to your favorite songs and playing your favorite video game, holding on to that blueprint and find out how you can recreate and transmute those feelings and use that energy into your hobby, your passion, or your pursuit. This is the first taste of the sensation of what is called the soul as we know in the Western civilization. That tingle that runs through your arms, your back, your neck, and all around your body. That feeling of, yeah, I fucking got this. That's when you've unlocked that state of flow. You're flowing through life and it literally feels like you're sailing with the cosmic winds of the universe. You must become your own experiment because each individual's set of beliefs and emotional reactions are different. Anything that enables you to feel these emotions will work. And I literally mean anything. Conversely, anything that prevents you from feeling those emotions will smother it. This will require you to be honest with yourself though. And this cannot be emphasized enough. You can't just say that you feel love or gratitude when you actually don't. Don't fucking lie to yourself. Your body's gonna know when you're bullshitting. This is why the stimuli I mentioned earlier is extremely helpful. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more on how to actually use that in my next video. But stuff like music, movies, anything to provoke those emotions in a genuine sense will work. This then becomes a progression as you go about life. And it'll take some time to strengthen as your brain reforms this pathway via neuroplasticity. It could take weeks or months, I don't know. It's just gonna take a long time. But in this period is where you don't take no advice from nobody except for that advice. Decide the advice that you take and learn to trust yourself in the process during this period. Your sensations will inevitably grow in strength because of the persistence. And you'll begin to feel it more easily through a wider range of broad stimuli. And then you get to the point where you realize it's not even stimuli at all that's triggering you to feel that way, but your emotional state and control over your mind and thought that matters. It's only a matter of time till your body will follow. That's when your outer reality starts to adjust to what you're feeling on the inside. Although this works both positively and also negatively. This is the same sensation that monks use, that they attempt to access during meditation. And it's the chanting that they do that creates the vibration in the chest, which can stimulate that state. I'm not saying you have to chant or anything. I'm just telling you what the monks do, because I like monks. This is the gateway to a realm you have yet to unlock. To exist in a constant state of flow at your own choosing. This is a place in your mind that you can trust. And taking the advice that's been ingrained in you for so long will now become obsolete. Of course, to unlock this state, we have to shut off the fear that's coded all around our gut. That's how we unlock the confidence to make these ballsy plays that we're actually able to do all the time. Fear is essentially the gatekeeper to get into this state of flow. Now, fear isn't gonna just let you walk into the state. So you're gonna have to map out and plan a B and E, a classic break and enter. Get on the journey to prove it's possible to live whatever life that you wanna live. Whether that's just living out your days on a farm or becoming a great musician, all you have to do is, when you feel that doubt, coding your curiosity, preventing your curiosity from moving forward, is to keep asking questions. There's trillions of solutions to a single problem. You'll be surprised to find out how good you feel when you find that answer that fits nicely into what you're looking for. And over time, learn the true power of creating your own personalized norm. All right, that's it for this video. I wasn't even looking at you guys. All right, that's it for this video. If I get copyright in this video, you know where to find it. Click that first link in the description down below. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon.